What's going on, young man? How you
I'm
doing today?
good. I'm playing with my lighting, but
I,
I'm good.
I was doing the same thing. I love this picture behind me. A friend gifted it to me, but he
Uh-huh.
had it laminated, and so there's a glare whenever I try to have a light.
Oh,
Yeah, so I have to like be very strategic. Yeah, where I put that. So I'm glad to have you on today.
I'm happy to be here. I really
You are.
am. Like, I've been looking forward to this.
Same here. I mean, you really are somebody that I've followed throughout the years, and you have just left such an impact on the communities that I'm a part of, and that I know many of my colleagues and friends and family are a part of. Uh, where did you get this inspiration to be so helpful to the LGBT community? Because you truly are.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me and for creating this space because these spaces are super important right now. And my inspiration to do this work has really came to me through my parents. My parents were about community and about giving back and being of service. And I'm really appreciative to them because as a kid, I always remember we were in church every Sunday. My father worked with the credit union for the church. My mother was the minister of music for the church. My brother was the alkalite. I was the alkalite. I mean, and we were Lutheran. So it wasn't like I went to, Baptist church or another type of church that was really long services. Services were an hour in and out. But
God
then we
bless
would
you.
stay just doing stuff and helping around the church and being a part of the community. So that's where I really learned about the give back.
Mm,
And the LGBTQ part, I think, comes from wanting to create space for myself.
mm. Tell me a little bit about your journey into self-discovery. When was that moment when you realized that this was who you are and this was something you were going to embrace, even with your religious background?
Um, it was definitely a struggle growing up because I always thought something was wrong with me. My parents, being very community focused, were very into social organizations and fraternities and sororities and so forth. So it was always this like, oof, that's going to be a problem if I come out because
Yeah.
they're going to have a problem with how it looks to their friends
Mm,
and their family and the community. So I guess the aha moment, I'm trying to think what the aha moment was. Well, no, the aha moment was after I graduated from Hampton University,
yeah.
I studied in London for the summer.
Ooh.
And when I was in London, it was a Boston University program where you studied British media and advertising and you interned at a British magazine. So I
That
literally
sounds
just
fun.
graduated from, yeah, it's good stuff. But I literally had just graduated from Hampton. I was reading Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison
Oh, yes.
and suddenly went from an all black campus in Virginia to be living in London and having two Jewish roommates and two Asian roommates. And I'm reading Invisible Man. So I was like, I'm mad. I don't like y'all. I don't know y'all. And I'm in London and I don't really know
Yes.
anybody. And one day I was reading Time Out London. And in the
Mm,
magazine was a photo of two black gay men,
mm.
but really artful, who were naked and embraced. And it was a black and white photo, and it was a movie called Looking for Langston.
Oh, I
And
remember that.
yeah, so that movie by Isaac Julian, I went to go see it. I snuck off from my group and I went to go see it at Piccadilly Circus by myself. And it
Yes.
was the first time that I saw two black men on film in loving embrace in a very
Mm,
positive manner. And the film is about using Langston Hughes' poetry over this kind of narrative of
yes.
love and self-discovery. And that was the moment. That was definitely the aha moment where I was like, okay, I'm gay. It's okay to be gay, and I want to create this moment for other people.
I love that. Well, you have, and you. What was that thing that helped you to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help others. I'm going to inspire others, but I'm going to put I'm gonna do that because we all know we have that moment. I want to do it, but there are these things that are holding me back, like my religious things, and
Yeah.
normally religious. So let's just say that. But what was it that allowed you to break free from that? Because so many people, even today, with all the freedom and breakthroughs that we've had,
Hmm.
there are
Yeah.
a lot of people who are still bound with their sexual identity and just anything that is freeing to who they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
What did it for you though that say that I can overcome that?
I think the thing that pushed me to come out to myself and then eventually come out to my family was I couldn't live in the lie.
Mm,
Living in the lie was too painful for me. Pretending that I was straight, pretending, going on dates with women who were like these dope, beautiful women who I just thought were so cool, but they were interested in me romantically. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this because I have to. And
right.
like, but I actually really like you, but I don't really want to sleep with you. And I was sleeping with some of them at the time. And I just, my mom kept asking me, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get engaged? And I would create these stories about these women that I was going on these dates with. And I just was like, I don't feel good about this. Like and the weight of living in the lie to
Mm,
me outweighed the pain or the hardship that it would be to come out. And I just, I think living in New York City after I came back from London and going to graduate school here and living here, I saw more opportunities of people living their lives out.
yes.
And I just was like, I can't do the other way. Like, I don't want to be the age I am now, which is 52, and living in a lie. Like, that's going to kill me from the inside out. And I just was like, I have to do it. And I always tell people this, it was one of the most painful things I've ever had to do in my life was coming out to my parents because I knew it was going to break them.
Mm.
But I also had to believe that they loved me enough that they would heal from it.
I believe that. Like I had to do something similar with my parents.
Hmm.
Coming from my parents being religious, especially my mother, it was
Yeah.
one of those moments where I had to be as honest as I could with myself to be happy with myself. And
Yes.
I had to know that in the end, they may not like it. In the beginning, they may not like it, but in the end, they
Right.
loved me enough that they would love me through that and they would
Yeah.
want me to be happy.
Yes.
And so that was my defining moment. We're in a good space now. And are you in a good space now with those who are in your family?
Yeah, my family is good. My parents are both deceased, but the good thing was, I mean, my mother took it the hardest,
Mm,
and my brother really was the person that said he challenged both of us, my parents and myself, to not walk away. And so I really thank my brother because he was like, you have to also stand up for yourself and
yes.
be compassionate and empathetic to their side of it. And then he told them, like, you've got it, you love him and you have to be empathetic and compassionate to his side. And it was tough. Like I didn't want to go home that much anymore. And then I was like, okay, I'll go for either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I can't do both because it was just so much.
Yes.
And eventually, everybody kind of, after years, I went through therapy to help myself work through it. And that helped a lot. But it just took
Mm,
years. And then finally, I just had to start pushing and kind of being like, this is who I am. Either you're going to accept me for who I am and not be homophobic, because that's the other part.
right.
And that part. And
That part, for real.
yeah, because it's like, okay, well, you're okay, but what about the rest of them? And it's like, well, no, I am them, they are me. So it was a lot of work. And I would say by the time my father passed away, he had really come to terms with it and was
Mm,
cool with it, with me, and would actually sit me down and have like conversations about,
mm.
being in relationships and how to take care of myself, and
I
regardless of
love
the
that.
woman and all this stuff. And then my
That's big.
mom, yeah, no, that was dope. And
Yeah.
my mom actually got to the point where she would go to events with me and when I would be honored, LGBTQ events. and was very supportive, like super supportive. So,
Mm.
and to the point where I actually ended up taking a boyfriend home at one point. So, and then she loved the boyfriend. I was like, of course you love him.
Of course.
Of course you love him.
She just wanted to see you happy at that point. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I definitely understand that journey, and thank you for sharing it because I mean, a lot of people are out there, and especially the part where you said, as Corey kind of commented, "I am them, they are me."
Yeah.
That is so powerful because there are those moments where you have people who love you, but they don't love anybody else who is like you,
Yep.
and so it's important that you reinforce, "Hey, look, I am a part of a community." And
Yeah.
you would have to respect them as you do me. So that is very important because, especially if you're bringing somebody home who is like you,
Yeah.
it would be very important that they don't disrespect them. So creating that culture, I think a lot of people forget that piece, and I want to mention this because you said it so profoundly
Mm-hmm.
about your family slowly incorporating and you having to have empathy with them. I think a lot of people forget that when you shatter somebody's expectation of who you are and who you are going to be, that you
Yeah.
have to be as, even though you're living in your truth, you can't be brazen with it sometimes with the people that
Right.
you love. You have to be very understanding of the change that they have to go through as well.
Well, I think that's so right because we internally have been going through wanting to make this announcement and live this truth. And so we've been
Yes.
processing what it's like to be other, to be different, to not be what we were raised to be. And
Yes.
then we spring it on people and expect them to meet us right there. And it's like they have to process the fact that, like, oh, like Emil is not straight and going to get married and have two kids to a woman. They're not even at the possibility, like, oh, he could still get married to a man and have two kids. Like, they're not even there. And you have to be patient with people, I think, for them to process it and to understand it. And it's hard, right? Because you just want to be like out the gate, like, I'm gay. And it's
That's
like, yes.
so true.
Now, the
Well,
good thing
this is
was
me.
my
I'm free.
friends, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. You're right. I mean, this is me. I'm free. Right.
I'm free. Now, my friends were the exact opposite. My friends, when I came out to them, they were like, thank God you finally can't realize. Like, they were like, ugh.
I love that. But what about your friends? Hello, you know,
Listen, they were
look,
like,
I'm telling
finally.
you. Right. I had some friends and some family like that who definitely were like, thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo. But when people are close to you, they definitely can see it and feel it. That's one of those things that you just got to have people close to you that keep it real. And it looks like you did. What
Yes.
is one of those moments with you now since you've gotten free and you've accepted who you love? Has the love journey for you been easy since then?
Um, that's a great question. The love journey has been good. I have definitely had two big loves in my life that I'm very grateful. Like, two loves that kind of will always be etched on my soul that um, loved me in ways that I didn't think that I was capable of being loved, or loved me in ways that I didn't know I needed to be loved. Um,
Yes.
and I appreciated them. And I also appreciate, and I think Yanla says this a lot, a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And I am grateful for the season with those two particular. Actually, there's three. I've had good runs, but I think the trick for me is being a public kind of figure and public
Yes.
facing. It makes things complicated.
Mm, I can understand that. Look, most of the people that I have on this show are in a similar boat, men and women on the full spectrum of sexuality, sexual preference, etc.
Yeah,
And so I understand it. When you are in the spotlight, when you're doing things that's not a 9 to 5, and people know your name and know your identity and know what you've done and know your work,
yeah,
it can be very difficult to find people who aren't just associated with you
yeah.
simply for the point of what they think they know of you.
Right.
You're right. Like
Yeah,
that.
because they come with an expectation of like, oh, your father, oh, you're Mr. Native Son, your vibe, your whatever my work thing is
Yes.
in association. But that part is tricky. yeah, it's hard. And then they're kind of like, oh, you're different than how you are on TV or on Instagram or whatever. So, yes, entanglements. Ah, our new word.
All right, our new word. You know, it's funny. I was actually I'm doing the audiobook. I didn't realize audiobooks would take so long, but I'm doing this audiobook for the book, and I realized I put in there the word entanglement before it was a thing,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, I, yeah, I just had to stop and pause. Like I had to pause after I said it because it's now become a thing. But
It's a
have
good
you
word.
had any? It's a fun word to say actually, especially about people in relationships. Have you ever had an entanglement or something that you felt like you was a little cloudy that you may not have may should have not been in?
Yeah, like when I was younger, I think I was did that more where I wasn't clear. I think now I try to be more clear about what my expectations are, what I'm looking for, what I like and I don't like.
Yes.
But it's you gotta get to that point. I think I'm at a place in my life where I'm being more clear with everybody about the things that I will deal with or don't and what my values are. So entanglements happen though. I mean, the interesting thing is I get approached a lot by like couples that want to hook up, which is like a throuple situation or a threesome, and I'm like, is that's going to be an entanglement?
That's yeah, those don't go well normally. There's always somebody that catches feelings, and the other person's very much so a stickler to what they agreed on, and the other person's emotional, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that
that's not what I'm looking for, right? If I was looking for a throuple, then that would be cool, but I'm just not. And I feel like I don't want to enter into another couple's dynamic like that. I'm just, I need my own dynamic.
so you deserve that, right?
No, it's what I prefer.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, everybody has their own thing. That's why in this business of love that I'm in, a lot of people feel like I should preach a certain thing, but honestly, love has takes on many forms and has many expressions. And
Yeah.
so I don't judge in the sense. I just make sure people are living what they want and are happy. And speaking of that, what would make you happy if you were to find someone today? What would make you happy about being with them?
What would make me happy about being with someone, I think, is companionship. I think someone to be with you in the good times and the bad times.
Mm.
Because we're full humans. We're not just Instagram moments, right? And so
Right.
we show all the best sides of ourselves and the best light and the best outfits and all that stuff on Instagram, but we also don't see when we're tired, when we don't feel great, when we don't feel worthy, when we don't, we've had really hard times. And it's been interesting going through COVID-19 and the quarantine and being single because there's moments where you feel so alone and kind of I feel so alone and kind of like I'm just in this house by myself and
Mm.
there's no one else to be there with me to hold me or to make me feel safe or just commiserate about those things. And I'm grateful that I have really great friends, but great friends are great friends, and you don't want to kind of make that be something more than it is. And
Right.
I'm grateful for them, but there's something of more intimacy that I think would make me very happy.
I can certainly understand, and you are absolutely not alone during this time. I was listening to one of my favorite people, Esther Perel, and she was saying that this is the time of great extremes. Is
Yeah.
most we'll see out of this the most divorces and the most babies.
Right.
People who
Right.
we talk about the winter hookups, but honestly, this Corona hookup season is going to be big for a lot of people. I will say to that, there's a word of caution, and she said it, and I will reiterate it in my own way, that it is so important to find now what makes you happy and feel it the most. Like this moment of feeling and
Mhm.
sensing and experiencing and knowing, like when you were moving fast, you may not have known how much you wanted a relationship, But
Right.
now that you're forced to slow down and assess and be with yourself, you realize that is a source of happiness. And there
Yes.
are other people who are in relationships who feel just the opposite. They realize when they were going, they were fine with a relationship, and now they realize that actually being single is a preferred thing for their lives.
Sure.
So knowing that and feeling that is so important, because what it does is now it allows your attention to be
Mm,
focused. It's
yeah.
like a laser now, it's not a question mark. It's not a spread beam. It's a laser and it's pointed towards something. And now all of your energy and
Yeah.
that law of attraction, which is really the law of love, can
Hmm.
really now focus in
Hmm.
on what your heart really wants.
Right. Yeah, and I
So,
think that's it's important to use this time, right, to be clear. And so, I don't mind being alone and being like in solitude because I think of it as like spiritual grounding and centering. Um,
yes.
but I do think it makes me be clear about, okay, what do I want? What love do I want to experience? And I think what I think about being, in past relationships that I loved about it is that there's a joy that comes with it that is almost indescribable. You wake up and you're just bouncing and you're just happy. And how do you create that ongoing, right? And be in that
Mm.
joy and accept that joy.
That's a great question. I think a lot of people are in that space as well because even being in a relationship for me, I feel that joy when I wake up. I'm in a great space with my partner and we're happy, and that's a beautiful thing to wake up and to be that way. But I
Yes.
teach this consistently that
Mm,
that should be nothing but a reflection of the love that you have for yourself.
right. Correct.
And so
Mm,
if so here's the danger of
mm,
loving that person so much when they're there and then not having that when you're alone,
mm.
is that that really now becomes an idol. And
Ah,
a
okay.
lot of people
Here we
end up
go.
developing, yes, a lot of people end up developing infatuations. We've seen all these movies, acrimony and all that, with, seriously, because of the fact that they have
Mm,
made the relationship an idol of happiness.
mm,
It's
mm,
this
mm.
false god. And so a
Ah,
relationship is not supposed to be that. It's supposed to
right.
be that I honestly have this much love in myself, and
Mm,
you are coming into my life. And what I'm doing is equaling the same amount of love that you bring into my life because I acknowledge that love in myself.
yes. Yes. Yeah.
And so the relationship never becomes an idol. And
Mm,
when it's lost, you're not truly hurt because you left it with what you came into it with.
mm. Okay, that's the word. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why people need 2 years of counseling after they get out of a relationship because they went in half empty and it filled them up. But
Right.
then when they left it, they didn't realize how hard the fall would be.
Right. Right. And then they're empty again.
And
Half
then they're
empty.
empty again.
Yeah.
And I deal with the human emotional side and the logical side of what happens in our emotions. But honestly, a lot would be solved if
Mm-hmm.
in that single time, you really, really learned
Mm.
how to develop the self love to where this singleness would then, what I often say, be selfishness. And you had a chance to read a little bit of the book, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, what part were you able to get through, and we can kind of dive in because I know you wanted to talk about it a little bit. What part did you
I'm in the
really
very
connect with?
beginning, so you guide me.
What stuck out to you? What was something that even now in this conversation
I
was something
think
that
that
highlighted?
that idea of really, really like the self-love part, because I think too many times we expect relationships, like you said, to make us whole,
Yes.
and that is not how it works. And so I think where I personally am curious about when I read the book is like you're filling yourself with love. You're
Mm.
being whole with yourself. You're being good with yourself. But then what if you're like, well, I'm just good. And then you don't open yourself up to
Mm.
more. It's almost like
Mm.
putting barriers up because you're so self-protective and you're fine
Yes.
being good, but then how do you open up?
That's good. I'm glad you said that because there's a lot of people who get to this almost prideful place, right? This place of arrogance about, oh, I love myself. I'm good. I don't need any more. I'm solid. I'm straight. I'm, Gucci, whatever they say.
Yeah.
And right. So in the reality of that though, this is why I talk about love being a journey. That's why it's so important for me to use that language. Because on a journey, you don't stop moving.
Right.
A journey has a destination, but a lot of times if you're moving, you're not there yet. And when you stop, you must be there. The truth is that you're not there yet. You really don't get there in love. There's not a space where you can ever really stop. Because think about in a day, how your emotions can shift, how your energy can shift. You are always having to push yourself a little bit harder to get a little bit stronger, to fortify your love, self-love, and develop it. So it's a constant progression. There is no place where you say, I'm 100.
Right.
There's no place where you say I'm 100. I am always getting better. I can always, even as the love coach, I can always love myself more.
Right.
I can always look, and here's how you know in human terms that you haven't gotten there.
Sure.
When you see somebody at a party and you weren't invited and you feel that little thing like, why wouldn't I invite it? Right. So in that moment you realize, oh man, I got work to do. Oh man, okay,
right.
All right.
It's that tinge.
It's that little thing. You see a couple and you want to be happy for them, but at the same time, you're like, why couldn't that be me? It's that little thing. You realize in that moment there is still a void. There's still something that you can work on. And so all of us have to be in such a humble state with even ourselves to say, I love me, but I got my shirt, I love me, but I still need more love for me. I still have to develop more love. I still have to process more love. I still have to be willing to fight each day to love myself even more with everything that's being thrown at you and everything you've been through and everything that's a scar or a challenge in your life. You are forced sometimes to confront those things at the most random times.
Right.
And in that, you got to be willing to say, I love me.
Yeah, and I think that's this place I feel like I'm in right now is that like almost demanding self-love of myself.
Yes.
Like a friend called right before I was coming on and I had been on Zooms all day and I wanted to rest, to be good in my spirit.
Yes.
Mind right before I came on. And so the friend called and I, instead of taking the call and just kind of being like running on here crazy, I said, I have one more Zoom to do at 7 with Byron. I can't talk to you right now. And he wrote me back. He's like, yes, brother, self-love.
Oh, that's a good friend to acknowledge that. Some people get offended, right?
That's a good friend.
That's a good friend. That's solid. I like that. What's another thing on your love journey that if you had a question for me today, that you would ask me to get better insight or direction?
I think when you did the talk with Native Son, this was something that you said that really stuck out to me about when we go on dates or we meet people, not to bring our whole history with us and unpack it when you're meeting someone new. That was like an echo aha moment for me. Because it's like, no one wants to hear about all the exes and all the last relationship and what didn't work and what they did or what they don't want all that. And I thought that was so profound about showing up as where you are now.
Yes.
That meant a lot. That touched me.
I'm glad. That's important because a lot of us, when we do that, it shows so clearly how scarred we still are. And it shows it clearly to the person we're in front of. I think about when I was in HR and doing interviews and you ask them about what brought them to the new job that they're applying for or interviewing for, and them going on a long tangent about, what the boss did and the environment over there was so toxic and I can't believe that I stayed there so long. And, the interviewer, for myself, I was immediately like, I don't know if this is the type of person
that you want, because they're going to do the same thing.
Right, because if you do it over there, you will definitely do that over here. And that is what a date is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And they may not say it, they may smile because, when you go on a date, first or second date, those are the best appearances that you'll give.
Yeah.
So there may just be that moment. But honestly,
yeah,
it's so I've also added something to that because there will be moments where you may need to disclose something earlier on, something that you feel is important. Let's say you have kids or you have a health impairment that they should be clear about up early on. I say don't make that a negative because just like the person who came on that interview and they were saying, "Oh man, I can't believe the job was so bad and they let me go for this reason or the other."
mm-hmm.
You can take a challenge and turn it into a positive.
Yes.
Because if you have children, oh yes, I actually have a child, and that child actually teaches me how to love others better. So I have an illness, but this illness, it came in my life, and I had to learn how to be more responsible with my health, more responsible with my body, and to treat myself with more care. Now that sounds completely different than, it was way back when this happened to me, and I can't believe, and this person hurt my feelings and broke my heart. That sounds completely different than I went through a really negative relationship, but I learned what I really want out of my life and what's important to me and what happiness looks like. And so I'm glad to be here with you because I'm feeling good energy already.
Right. I like that. Yeah, that was such an aha moment because I was like, do I do that? Or am I dating people that do that, right? And that's similar. It's kind of looking both ways.
Yes.
So what about people that want to move really quickly?
That's big. Look, you get so happy, right? You get so happy that you met someone who is nice and seems kind and is generous and wants to spend time and seems interested. And you just want to put your foot on the gas and go, right? All systems fire to 100. The little needle is on the red and it's just doing this. It's saying go full throttle.
Right.
It's romantic, but it's not healthy.
Right.
Think of any system, and I'll give you a few examples because this is a question I get a lot, and this is really important. I'll give you a few systems here. Think about your body. When it goes too hard, you lose your breath, your heart is beating fast, you literally are in a state of weakness.
Yes.
When you go too hard. Like your body eventually gets weaker. Think about, yes, right, already, just that one. Think about driving too fast. I'll use this, I love this analogy of driving too fast.
Sure.
While you get to your destination, whatever that destination is, faster, you also will get there with greater danger.
Right. Yeah.
There's more likelihood that you'll get in an accident. There's more likelihood that you will crash and burn.
Right.
There is more likelihood that minor damages that would have happened if you went slower will be greater because you went faster. And another one that's major. When you're driving faster, you tend to miss things that are happening around you.
That's right. Yeah, because you're moving so fast, you're missing the moment.
Yes, there are people who drive the same way to work every day. They drive fast. And they didn't realize a new building popped up and a new gas station's over on the court. Like they don't see any, right? Hello, they don't see any construction happening. And we do that in our relationships, and we end up a year later saying, "I never saw that out of them," and it was there the whole time. Like it's there the whole time. The building was there. You missed it because you were going too fast. So slowing down. I ask this, it normally happens with people who are feeling like life is either getting away from them or they're younger and they're in this space where they just don't know how to slow anything down because of the microwave mentality of our generation today.
Right.
But one of the things I say is, what are you racing towards? Like seriously, what are you racing towards? Because to me, a relationship is not a race, it's a journey.
Right.
And we're not racing to the journey. We're enjoying it. You don't go hiking to try to hike as fast as you can. You hike for the enjoyment of
Right.
the journey.
Right.
And that is when you just apply that, that'll make you slow down because you realize we're not racing to anything. We're not racing into a relationship.
Right.
We're not racing into an engagement. We're not racing into marriage
Hmm. Hmm.
because people who do that often race into divorce.
That part.
So it's best to slow down. Like it's best, it's healthier. And honestly, it's love to, when I feel like somebody I'm riding with is driving too fast, it is love to say, hey, slow
Hmm.
down.
Right. Right.
That's love.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I've had to learn to be okay with doing that. Right. Regardless of what the response is, it's like you're driving too fast for me.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you feel like you're the one that's normally going too fast or they are? Or
I used to go too fast when I was younger. Like I would be like, oh, I met the guy of my dreams. We're getting married. I'd be fantasizing, building this whole story. And then as I've gotten older, I'm like, slow down. And really, I'm now in a state of like really wanting to get to know someone and realizing like with a friend, right? You don't become friends with people overnight and just,
yeah.
So it's the same thing. So I really look for the friendship in it because I think will help with the longevity of a relationship. Obviously it helps if there's other attractions and things like that, but like a lot. And then sometimes I think it's more of a like slow dance to me. Would be
I get that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it. Honestly, learning each other, enjoying the little nuances. There's little things that I tell couples to do. Get to know each other's body. Take time, like experiment with things, slowly move up their body, get to know who they are, what they like, what they don't like. There are couples a year into having sex and they don't even know the real pressure points of their partner's body.
Right.
Like they're so used to just having sex or doing things or giving flowers. Like you give flowers and don't even know what type of flowers they like. Like that's what going slow gives you.
Yeah.
It gives you more attention to detail. It allows you to really have the kind of relationship that you're supposed to have, that you deserve, which is one that can be tailored and crafted to fit both of you.
I like that. Tailored and crafted to fit both of you. I really like that.
Yes. And that's how you do it. You can't do that going fast, though.
Yeah, you can't.
What you'll do is you'll just bring in whatever you used to doing before. And because it worked a little bit, at least a little bit before, you just do it again.
Right.
And so I remember the first time I ever bought flowers for my partner and was like, oh, these are nice. I don't like these. He's honest. He was like, I don't like these per se, but I like the thought. Thank you so much.
Right.
But I never asked. I never investigated.
Right.
I was on autopilot going fast, and I literally just did what I knew to do before.
Yeah, and I had a boyfriend that would bring me flowers. I mean, like tons of flowers. And the thing is, he would always say, "What's your favorite flower?" And I would tell him what my favorite flower was. He never brought me those flowers. It was the craziest thing. Like I was like, I'm grateful for the flowers, but these are not the ones I like.
And that's the little things that let you know. This is why, for me, I would rather have a boyfriend who does that than a husband or a partner who I'm married to. Right. Because this is what people do moving fast. You end up having that same partner without you getting that tailored, handcrafted relationship for you, for both of you. You end up getting that one-size-fits-all relationship.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, brother, but I prefer to have something. There's enough people out there that I could have a general relationship, right? There's enough people out there that it could be good. but I want amazing. I want extraordinary. I
Yes.
want something that leaves me speechless. And what leaves me speechless
Mm.
is when I get something that I really want.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
You remember on
So, I
Christmas
mean,
when you were like, you got underwear and you were like, thank you for the underwear.
right.
I
That,
know I
that,
need underwear, but that
right.
ain't really what I really wanted.
Right. Right. And, and I've definitely been with dudes that like surprise me, right? Where it's like, oh, I didn't know that I wanted that. That's amazing.
Yes.
That's more catered, and something more crafted to, it's thoughtful, super thoughtful.
It is thoughtful. It is very thoughtful. I think, that type of person probably does a little bit of research behind the scenes, though. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they probably know, oh, they like the color yellow. So I'll get them. So, fun fact, while I love Batman, my partner loves yellow. And so I do have the original Batman that's in yellow on my arm.
Okay.
And so I didn't know he liked, I was one of those that went fast. Did not know that he liked yellow at first.
Uh,
Okay. So it wasn't a month till a month in that he saw this tattoo and was like, I love yellow. Now, mind you, I did not know that. So when I was buying flowers, I was buying white and red.
oh wow.
Yes. So that's why I got told. Like, once I knew that though, and I was getting yellow flowers, I bought this hat on a trip when I
Yep.
came back for him. So when I wear it, he could see it. Because he's like, I love you loving Batman, but I had a all black hat. So it's like the little things you can do
Right.
for your partner, because he
Right.
loves Superman, the little things you can do for your partner to show that you care. But you
Right.
can't do that going fast. And I keep saying that so often because that question about going fast
Yeah.
is so key. Let me
Mm.
tell you why a lot of people want to go fast, and this is really in our social media culture. We
Sure.
see these couples who are doing great things and have beautiful pictures. Many of them have monetized their coupleship, have do product placements and all these kind of things,
Yeah.
and it's cute and it's beautiful and it's love and all of that. The only thing is that trying to compare
Mm.
to them and try to catch up to them
Right. Mm.
is dangerous because that's what it really is. You
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
catch up to
Yeah.
some people that you see having that life and you want that life and you want to catch up to that life and I want to live that life and I want to exude that life and be a part.
That's not it. Yeah.
That's not it. What is it is being happy. What is it is finding somebody that tailors themselves and who what you need in your life. That is what will bring you happy. Look, honestly, I'd rather stay in a relationship and never get married. I'm one of those Joy Behar. She was like not married to her husband for like 20 years
Right.
before they got officially married. I'd rather do that and
Mm-hmm.
be happy than
Right.
to race to something and be in hell.
Mm. Right. Do you think though sometimes I look at a lot of couples like that who are partners or live together and they have kids and all this thing and they never get married. Do you think the marriage can mess up the relationship? Is it the commitment or is it the language? What do you think that is?
I think it's the understanding of the word, what you think of the words.
Mm.
Honestly, that's why in the book I talk about the 6 phases from
Yeah,
going from singleness, dating, relationship, engagement, marriage, and divorce.
exactly.
Honestly, marriage is just a phase
Mm.
of an entire journey. Here's the problem. A lot of people end up making it a destination,
Ah,
a continuous
there
part
you
of
go.
the journey. And
Yeah.
so once you get to a destination, what happens with, I had an Olympic uh, racer on a couple weeks ago, and she was saying, she got a medal. It's like, okay, after you've trained and after you've gotten your medal, and you're standing on the podium and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing your bow and all that. What's next?
Right.
Because you've achieved it,
Yeah.
you've done it.
Yeah.
So what's next? And a
Mm.
lot of Olympians who get that goal go home and feel lost because their whole identity was in the destination.
Mm. Mm.
So once you get to the destination of marriage,
What's
a
next?
lot of couples don't know what to do next
Right.
because they literally
Uh,
feel lost once they get the ring.
yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, they hit the goal, but then it's like Now what?
Because they've turned off. They've turned off. You know, the Olympian who gets the gold stops working out. What else am I working out for? I've already done it.
Right.
So they forget to keep working their relationship like they had to do before.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. So 6 steps from singleness to, wait, say it, tell me again, because you know.
Yes, so everything is really important. So singleness is that phase where you get to focus on yourself. It's selfishness.
Okay.
It's where the only phase that it's just you. Every other phase, you got somebody else, right?
Okay.
Dating is where you get an opportunity to discover what you want and what you need out of someone else.
Got it.
So that is what you use that phase for. It's the opportunity for you to figure out what you want out of yourself and someone else.
Okay.
Relationship is where you learn to re-engage your power of commitment. Because in every phase before, in singleness and dating, you didn't have to be as committed. Imagine being single for 10, 15, some people years, and you being single and not having to be committed, right? So you have practiced uncommitment.
Right.
Your job doesn't mind if you have another job.
Right.
Your bills don't mind if you have other bills. So you were committed to those, but you also had the opportunity to have others.
Right.
In dating, in relationship, you only have one. And so you have to learn the habit, relearn the habit of committing to only one choice and one choice only.
Right. Okay.
So it's re-engaging that. Engagement is the opportunity for you really to hone in on your choice and begin fulfilling it by figuring each other out even more and figuring out what your life is going to look going forward. Once you do that, now you're married, because engagement is necessary. I say that all the time. This is the only phase where you get to decide how long it's going to be.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Every other phase, you say you're going to be single for 5 years or a year, but you end up meeting somebody 2 weeks in, and
right.
You know.
Yes. Right.
So engagement is the only time that you really get to plan how long you'll be engaged.
Right.
And then once you're married, you know, you're expanding on the power of your commitment and living that out each day, and really deciding to be with each other and deciding to live together in all of your lives. So it's deepening that to a point where, as committed as you are with yourself, you are with your partner.
Okay.
So that's that. And then divorce is the opportunity for you to rediscover yourself.
Right. So in the relationship, in the marriage, how do you coach people about not losing themselves?
Oh, that's good. First, I tell them to go back and remember how they found themselves. You know, the reason why you knew yourself, look, there are so many factors. Your partner is not the reason why you lost yourself.
Right.
The reason why you lost yourself is because you stopped doing the things that helped you find yourself. A lot of people get into relationships and they stop doing the things that help them form their identity and to maintain their identity. Right. So, you know, the people who ended up doing hobbies and extracurricular activities, they just stop it and they spend all their time with their partner, and that's cute, but it's not healthy to maintain who you are. You need time with your friends. You need time with your family. Excuse me, with your family. You need time to do things that are important to you, and to be very clear about what those things are, and to have a supportive environment that allows you not to feel bad about exercising those things. Right.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of stories of that, and people are like, I feel lost, and you know, I lost myself, and then they get mad at the partner. And I'm like, but you're the one that stopped hanging out with us. You're the one that stopped working out, or whatever it was that you used to love, fishing or whatever. And I think about that a lot when I am dating and in relationships, is like making sure that I spend time by myself and then spend time with my friends and family and things that I love to do, but also being committed to, I will be home for dinner. What will we do together?
Yes.
That is ours as well.
That is good. I'm glad you said that. Look, at each phase, in singleness, you get to be all you. It's your time and your time only. In every phase going forward, you're supposed to give a little bit of time away, just a little bit of time away at each phase. Here's the problem. A lot of us dating, we give away like all our time. Like we change our whole schedule on the dating phase.
Right.
And so by the time you get to marriage,
Right.
what's left?
Right. That's true.
Because each phase is expecting a deeper commitment. So if
Right.
you've given away 100% already in dating, what up? No wonder they're upset.
Right.
They're looking for more, and there's nothing left to give.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's
Yeah.
true. I've seen it happen. I mean, I've done it where it's like you just want to be with the person all the time, 24/7, and you're like,
Mm-mm.
it's just never ends well.
Don't do it. I tell everybody, this is why it's so important. I have couples that come to me when they just meet, and they're like, "Hey, Byron, we want to just make sure we're just going to do monthly check-ins," because I will assess their time together. I will say, "Hey, what are you doing together?"
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, well, they're over my house 6 days out of 7, and we wake up and sleep together, and the only time we're apart is when we're going to work." And I'm like, "Whoa, y'all just met last week."
Right. Right.
So what's next? Like, what do you do from there?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And it's important to find that balance. I think, going back to what you asked me before about like what are the things that would make me happy in a relationship, and I think one of the things is meeting someone who has their own life, who has their own
There you go.
career and loves and other things, so that it's more of a coming together versus filling one another's voids per se.
I love that. That is so important. Like, for me, what keeps me and my partner healthy, and someone said they give 100 to everything, they can't help it. I would say this. I have multiple savings accounts, multiple places I give, and I give 100% of what I'm supposed to give to each account.
Right.
I don't give 100% of what I made. I give 100% of what each account is supposed to get. What I'm saying is give your 100, but in dating, give your 10%, 100% of 10%.
Mm-hmm.
In relationship, give 25% of 10% of the 100%. Like, in each one, give 100%, but give the fullness of what that level deserves. So that's not an excuse to say, "Oh, I give 100, I can't help it." I also think it's important here to acknowledge that there will be those moments where you get overwhelmed emotionally.
Yes.
You need to have people in your life that you can trust, that will pull you back and say, "Hey, I notice we don't see you at all anymore."
At all. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
Hotel. Right.
And you're like, "But this look, I know it's good. I know the good is good, but you look.
Listen.
Until you got a Beyonce ring on it,
Right.
I promise you it can wait." I can't stress enough to people who are listening and to you and being like, I can't stress enough that pacing out your relationship, your love journey, pacing it out, being able to really pace it out, will not only help you when you slow it down, help you see more, but it will help keep you from hitting a lot of the potholes that the relationship journey, the love journey can take.
Right. Potholes.
There's potholes. There's always potholes. Yeah. Like, anything that you didn't expect from somebody is technically a pothole. But when you're going slower, there's ways you can maneuver with those. You can go with the flow of the road instead of just going so fast and boom. Like, it's like.
You see, I got real quiet.
Like, real quiet here. Hello.
Real quiet.
Real quiet in this church. That's so true.
Well, no, because it's funny that you mentioned the potholes, because I think I've been in relationships where like it's all great and it's all like Gucci, as you said, and everything's wonderful and dreamy, and then one thing shoe will drop, and I'm like, what happened?
What happened?
And then it's weird because it's like it shatters this fake picture that you've painted because you've been rushing. And you didn't see it coming or didn't want to see it coming. And then I get stuck with that too. It's like, are you not being compassionate? Are you, So
it's a lot easier to deal with people's potholes when you haven't invested so much so fast. See, that is... See, a lot of times we don't end relationships just because we have invested so much. And we don't want to feel bad that we done broke up another one and that we ended another one and another one's failing and another one's not going right. And what's wrong with me because I can't believe I'm in another one that's going this way. And we are in this space. And so it becomes ego. It becomes pride. It becomes about us. When really we need to slow down and figure out, like, okay, I didn't expect this about this person, but this person, I have some things that this person won't expect about me.
Right.
And when you slow down, you're able to say, you know what? I'll match you with that craziness and I got something for you.
Right.
You know, but you can't do that going fast.
No, you can't. You can't.
You know, and when you don't have a lot to lose because you haven't invested so much so fast, you can then have casual talks as opposed to ultimatums.
Right. Right. Right.
You know, you can have the talk like, hey, that's not something I expected. It might take me a little bit of time to figure out how I'm going to handle that. But because you didn't move so fast, that conversation doesn't seem like you're avoiding the relationship or backing out of the relationship. You're just asking for the time that you should have already been really given because you didn't move fast.
Right. Right. That grace.
Baby, I could talk all day about going slower.
Right.
You know, I could really go all day about it because that's. I'm glad you asked that because a lot of people are stuck right there. I could talk to you all day, Emil. Like you, I love this. You're pulling the goodness out of me here today. I'm so glad that you decided to come on. I know we're gonna get cut off in a moment, but I want to make sure, tell everybody first before we kind of wrap up. I just want to make sure we catch this for the recording. Where everybody can find you and the work that's most important to you right now.
Sure. So it's my name, Emil Wilbekin, on all platforms, and then at Native Son now.
Love it. Tell us about Native Son real quick.
Native Son is inspiration and empowerment for Black gay men, how we see each other and how we celebrate each other.
Look, the reason why I am so glad to have you on and to talk about these kind of things, people think that we're so separate, gay, straight, whatever, everything in between. The truth is a lot of stuff we deal with is the exact same stuff. That's the thing I learned being a bisexual love coach is that on both spectrums, male, female, straight, gay, trans, whatever, we are dealing with many of the same issues, many of the same problems, many of the same mentalities that we have to break, like going too fast. So I'm glad that you came on and talked about that with me today. And man, you are awesome. I'm so proud of you, the life you've lived. And I believe that you should have extraordinary love. And I believe you will, my brother.
Thank you, brother. And you have to come back on the Native Son so we can talk more about the book.
Hey, look, I'm ready for it. I don't mind at all. So I appreciate you and the work you're doing. Just keep doing it, brother. I'm here for you. All right.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And to everybody watching, this was Emil. Look, y'all follow him. I'm sure y'all already are. But if you don't know who he is, now you know. Thank you, everybody. Go follow me as well, ByronJamal.com. Check out Successful Love, my new best-selling book. And I look forward to seeing y'all back on The Heart. Love y'all. Take care.
All right. Bye. Thank you.